I just want to say it's an honor and a pleasure to have you, sir. You're one of our all-time favorite. You're a hero of this podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's the best. Well, we'll jump into it. I know you're a busy guy. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, the great Darius Kasparaitis is here with Andy and Frazer Smith. I'm Joe Bartnick. First of all, Darius, it's amazing that we're having this podcast that I still love hockey because you broke my heart in 1993. I'm a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. You demolished the greatest empire Pittsburgh's ever seen. What was that like?
Oh, I think I remember the playoff year like yesterday. A lot of people were making fun of our team, so you have no chance winning in one game against Penguins, the mighty Penguins, and I remember my friends are betting. I said, listen, if you win one game, we'll buy a case of champagne or things like that. And, winning in Game 7 with David Volek's goal, I think that's one of the biggest upsets in NHL history, and it was great. We didn't have a lot of expectations. We just played a game as we thought as a kids, and good things happened to us.
I still can't hear the song The Right Stuff without getting sick to my stomach. But I'm glad you became a Penguin.
Yeah, that was another weird part in my career. When they traded me to Pittsburgh, I was like telling Mike Milberg, "Are you joking? I can't go there. They hate me there." And and rest of it was history. I played there for 6 seasons, and I had a blast in Pittsburgh.
And you scored one of the most iconic goals in Penguin history. Take us through that in 2001.
I guess that's
Buffalo.
Yeah, I guess that's the way God works, hockey God. I abused Mario in '93 playoffs, and then I scored a big goal in 2001. To advance to the next round. I don't know. I was not a goal scorer. And I was just joking with my roommate night before. What happens if you score a goal in Game 7? And I said I would never score. First of all, and if I do, I don't know. So I just jumped into a play. I felt good all game long, and I felt like I can contribute offensively. And when Lang passed it to me on the blue line, I just I closed my eyes and I shut the puck. and then when I opened it, I saw everybody celebrating. So I naturally just started running away from everyone and slid, on my bell. It was just an expression, probably like a kid. I didn't know how to express my feelings at that moment. That's why I probably fell and started kicking my feet.
Darius, I got to say, growing up, I wore number 11 because you wore it. And behind me, there's a Kasparaitis jersey signed right up the numbers. I met you at Madison Square Garden. I kind of got in behind security down a little hallway, and you were trying to get kids Yager's autograph. You were waving all these little kids who have been playing in a game before to Yager's autograph. I show up, and I was coaching the team, and I was wearing this little throwover. And I popped it off, and I'm wearing a Kasparaitis jersey. And you looked at me like, I can't believe you're wearing that. And you signed it right up the 11. And you gave me a little tussle on top of I was like 11, 12 years old. And it literally has been hanging in my house ever since. Everywhere I've moved, I've had that Kasper jersey sitting there. I love the way you played growing up. And it's honestly just a trip. I just wanted to get that story out here. It's just a trip to talk to you and even have a conversation. Because I just loved the way that you played. You played. To me, I thought you were a lot cleaner player than people gave you credit for. You had a lot of clean hits, and people give you a label of being dirty. And I thought that you really you laid some of the best open ice hits. You and Scott Stevens, maybe 1 and 2 in the history of the game.
You know what? I don't think people like players who play the game hard. And sometimes when you play physical, people think that you play dirty. Even right now, when I play open hockey, lunch hockey in the beer league. If I start being rough, and playing hard, people right away think that I'm playing dirty. But it's just the way it is. The game is very competitive, and I love hitting, when I played. I felt like, I had so much pressure on me because people, especially playing in Pittsburgh, people expected me to hit someone, and make a nice hit. So it's like scoring a goal. I always looked for the big hit. It came not naturally, but I practice a lot on that, and I think there's also having a talent to find the guy with the head down. These days in the NHL, probably I cannot do that, but before it was a different hockey. But it's nice to see people, wear my jersey and Actually, I took my daughter, short story, to a New York Islanders game a couple of days ago in New Arena, UBS Arena, and I still saw two guys wearing one lady and one young gentleman was wearing my hockey jersey, and she was like, "Wow, this is cool." I played there almost 30 years ago. Then the next night, I went to a Rangers game in Madison Square Garden, and I told my daughter right before the game, "Don't expect anybody wearing my jersey here." Even I put Rangers, because it's different. I think when I came to the league, my first two teams, the Islanders and Pittsburgh, I play very physical. I think that's why people love me so much. With the Rangers, I try to do the same thing, but I think I was a little older, and also what happened, I got paid a lot, and people, especially media, right away they concentrate more on your salary than your game. So I feel like that was a little bit of punishment for my high salary playing for the Rangers.
You played so well for several different NHL teams. When you watch hockey now, who do you root for? What team do you root for now?
Oh, I live in Florida and Miami, so I kind of got used to rooting for the Panthers because my kids watch it a lot. We go to the stadium a lot, so I root for the Florida Panthers because I'm, I live here. But it's hard, it's very hard to pick the team. I think I always, consider myself, even I play for the Avalanche. I play for 4 teams, so it's kind of hard to pick. I don't know if any athlete who play for multiple teams can pick the one team and say, "Listen, this is my team, and I got to root for."
You're a well-decorated. You played in 4 Olympics. What do you think about the Olympics and them going or not going, or how you think the pros in the Olympics, or would you like to see the kids go? What's your overall feeling on the Olympics? And as a guy coming from Europe, how does it compare to the Stanley Cup?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of kids who play in Europe, Olympic Games are huge, because I never heard about Stanley Cup before I came to AHL, in the 90s. And Olympic Games were televised on my black and white TV when I was growing up. And it was a huge deal, So when I made my Olympic team first time, I just want to make the Olympic team just to go to Olympics and brag to people that I play in Olympic Games, So I think you can compare two things, but I think if you go to Africa or Brazil and say you're Olympic champion, people would recognize you right away. If you tell them you're a Stanley Cup champion, they would be like, "Oh, okay, whatever." I think the worldwide Olympics are more recognizable than Stanley Cup. Maybe because I didn't win one.
Now, and you were well decorated at gold, silver, and bronze in the Olympics. Now, you left Lithuania to play in Moscow when you were 14, which is amazing. Shows what kind of a tough man you are. Now, did you when you came to America to play for the Islanders, did you sneak in like some of the guys like Malkin or some of the Detroit Red Wings, or did you come over? What was your experience to get to the NHL? Because it was still, I think, the old days, right?
No. Actually, the Soviet Union fell apart, and a lot of players were leaving, especially after '92 Olympic Games, because it was no more Soviet Union, so it was becoming Russia, and all the countries are, becoming their own countries. Before it was 15 republics of Soviet Union, so they just approached me. I remember in October and asked me if I want to play in NHL. A Russian, my Dynamo Moscow manager. And I was like, sure, why not? So 2 days later, I was already skating in Long Island, and it was very easy transition. I just one day I was in Russia, next day I was in New York, practicing with New York Islanders, and I expected myself to go to the minors, and things like that. I remember I arrived October 4th, and I played October 6th, my first NHL game, and I realized how easy it was to hit people in the NHL because the ice was so much smaller. I think that's why I became a hitting defenseman, because my first year I was just hitting everybody.
How was the difference? What is the difference? Did you find the difference between playing in the Russian league and in the NHL?
Well, I was raised in Russia when I was playing in Russia, or Soviet system. I was raised to puck movement, control. Don't give the puck so easy. Don't dump and chase. It's like tic-tac-toe. And I think, you have to be that way to even play for the national team or play on a high level. If you're just like a rugged defenseman, as I became in NHL, I don't think I would be playing at a young age in Russia. So when you came to NHL, the game was more simplified. You know, guys are playing, up and down. They don't really regroup, or they don't do all this, breakouts. Maybe they do right now, but before, I remember that's why it was easy for me to hit people, because they try to beat you one-on-one, and that's why I use my hip check so well, because guys who just never expected to get hit, with your butt, they always thought you're gonna hit them with the shoulder, so they never expected you to go down and hit them with a hip check. So I think that was, and the ice was much smaller in NHL when I came, so it was much easier for me to have a transition.
Darius, recently we've seen Jacob Trouba step up 3 times and throw clean hits in the neutral zone and get jumped almost after every hit. Do you think players should have to answer for good, clean hits? Or does that get annoying? Because as a fan, I see both perspectives. You see a player get hit, you want to defend him. But also, these are clean hits. And should guys have to fight after they throw a good, clean hit?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter. I don't think the game changes that way. If you hit somebody with the open ice hit, and it's a nice big hit, you're always going to get jumped, no matter what. I think, I always got jumped. That's why I think I never got concussions, maybe once, because I always expected the players to go after me. If I hit somebody, I will always expect the players to go after me. So I always had a target on my back, So I think even today, if you rock somebody in the neutral zone or make a huge hit that everybody goes crazy, you're gonna get jumped, and it's normal. That's what the game is so much. That's why the game is fun. That's how when I play, I knew how to irritate the opponent. I hit somebody so hard, and everybody starts chasing you. They stop playing, and try to basically take out of the game, and we end up having power plays.
Everyone remembers the Lindros hit. Is there another big hit you remember, even greater, or that you thought was even a bigger hit?
Oh, no, Lindros hit was big because, Eric Lindros at that time was a beast, and the Flyer and Penguin rivalry was huge, And example, when I hit Eric Lindros, unfortunately got hurt. I think they were up 4-2 at that point at the game, And after that hit, they stopped playing. They just want to, get even, and and the game became ugly, And I think we won the game 5-4. And the next day we played back to back. And I remember my first time in my life, I was scared, actually, because I received a lot of, if it was happening today, it would probably be crazy, because there was no Instagram, no Facebook, So I think that was easy. But when I remember traveling to Philadelphia next day, I would get phone calls in my hotel room, people telling me they're gonna kill me or they're gonna shoot me, with things like that, nasty things. So I had a lot of big hits in my career, I think Eric hit because Eric was huge. I hit Gretzky with a hip check, and then I scored a goal.
That's we'll call that the
And I have a
Kasparaitis.
picture. I have a picture to prove it, and I also have a picture of Gretzky laying on my shoulders on my back, and then I have a YouTube video. If you Google it, they asked me after the first period, why don't I never hit Gretzky? I say it's very hard to find Gretzky to hit because he's so smart. And the next period, I hit Gretzky and I scored a goal.
Oh, we're going to call that the Kasparaitis hat trick. That's amazing.
Yeah.
now you have you played Penguins versus Philly, and you played Islanders versus Rangers, and the other way around. What's the bigger rivalry?
I feel because I came to the league in the 90s, I feel like Islanders-Rangers rivalry was crazy in the 90s, in the early 90s, especially before, the Rangers won a cup. I remember, the Chad 1940, it was just a hateful rivalry, and Flyers in Pittsburgh is not as bad as the Islander, especially Islander fans. They hate Ranger fans. I think a lot of teams hate Ranger fans or Ranger as a team, so it's hard for them to choose which team they're gonna hate the most, the Ranger fans. But Islanders totally hated the Rangers. I think that's why I lost a lot of support from the Islander fans when I signed with the Rangers, because that was like probably the biggest shock for the Islander fans. Because when I play for the Rangers, we play a lot of. I didn't felt so much intensity intensity when we play Islanders or Devils or other teams, because I think every game was like a big game for the team, but not as hateful as I played for the Islanders. I remember Mick Vukota told me one time, if you want to make your name in the league, you go hard against the Rangers, and you go hard against Messi.
Now
That's what I did.
You later went to the Rangers. Did Eric Lindros help you by putting in a good word?
Actually, Eric called me the night on free agency and told me he would love to see me on the team. And there's no hard feelings. Hockey is the game with the injuries, and he said that was my fault. I kept my head down, and he says I would love you to play with me on the same team. I was shocked. So I spent one season with Eric in New York, and I realized he was a great human being, very funny guy, and I don't think people get to know him as much as a lot of players, his teammates. It was a goofball.
Sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, Andy.
I was going to ask, as far as the Olympics, we kind of talked about it right now, but say the Olympics were happening right now and your career was still going, knowing all we know about the players going over and possibly getting quarantined for 5 weeks, if you were still playing in the NHL right now, would you go ahead and go play in the Olympics this year, or would you stay home?
Of course, I think the players who are not going to go Olympics because they don't want to quarantine or they're afraid of something. I think they're dumb, because that's a one in a lifetime experience going to Olympics. No matter what, Olympics is Olympics. It doesn't happen often. Maybe 4 years from now you can get injured or whatever. So any chance. Any opportunity you have to go Olympics, you go. Even that's why I did it. I'm Lithuanian, and I made a decision to represent Russia because I love hockey, and I want to play the best level of hockey. So that's why I represented Russia, especially in the Olympics. So I don't think players should even think twice to go Olympics.
Darius, you have 6 kids. Are any of them playing hockey, or any of them being tough, rugged defensemen like yourself?
No, my kids play soccer, and my girls play volleyball. One boy plays basketball, and and 2 kids play soccer, 2 little boys. But I realized, I always try to take my kids to hockey, and eventually I give up, because just dressing up 4 kids, it takes me probably 45 minutes, and then driving them, and I saw that there was no talent there. But I feel like my little ones have a good chance to be a good soccer players. Probably every parent thinks that way. But as an athlete, I can see in my 7-year-old and 5-year-old that they have athletic genes to be successful if they put the work into.
Hey, Darius, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. You're a real estate mogul, and just thank you so much. You got a bunch of kids. If you're running guys in the beer league down in Florida, please take it easy on our buddy Joey Willig, because he set this up.
Yeah. Joe is my buddy. Yeah. Before I go, speaking of beer league, I was probably only one player who was suspended for 2 weeks from beer league.
Wow.
And you know what happened? They call me after 1 week. They say, "Come over, we miss you."
Yeah. Darius,
cool.
I can't tell you how much of a thrill this is. I mean, Andy, he ate a Kasparaitis pickle before every game he played in high school. So
cool.
We just love having you on. And,
I
and
had
Merry
a cruncher
Christmas
before every game. I felt like it had some luck.
Oh yeah,
some luck
listen.
to it,
When I was in high school, I ate pickles and vodka before the game.
All right.
All right, guys.
Well, thank you so much, Darius.
Thank you, guys.
Happy
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Darius.
Thank you.
Looking back for Gilmore. Taking over on the play is Robert Lang. He's got a trailer. Here's Kasparaitis. Wristing one. He shoots and scores. The Pittsburgh Penguins have won the series in overtime. Darius Kasparaitis. And ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building.